Welcome everyone to Donington Park and the final event of the season for the 2020 Focus Cup. It's been a strange old year, but what a success story this championship has proven to be. We've got the biggest grid in the championship's 2-year history here, with just over 20 cars hoping to take to the track for the pair of races. In amongst all of this, we have new names, some returning faces, and Andy Godfrey is trying to wrap up the 2020 championship. It's going to be a busy pair of races, and the greasy conditions here at Donington Park are set to provide plenty of drama. Simon Walton, I know you do an awful lot of work behind the scenes to make this championship a success, and what a success it's become.
Yeah, we're happy to be here. I know it's December and it's late on in the year, but we managed to get a season with everything that's going on this year. We've had this is our fourth great weekend, 5 rounds, and great finale. The sun's shining anyway today, so looking forward to seeing the racing.
It's hard to believe that this championship is not even at the end of its second full season, and here we are with 21 cars on the grid, biggest grid we've ever had. You've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, we're over the moon, especially at the end of a really bad year. Last year we started off, I think the first race we had 10 cars. It's slowly grown till we've got the end of 2020 with 21 cars on the grid. We've bought parts already to make more cars. We're hoping to have a grid of 24 next year. And judging by the amount of emails I get at an early stage, I think we should easily fill them.
It's becoming a really popular championship, and there's good reason. It's kind of unique, isn't it? This whole arrive and drive aspect, it's exclusively arrive and drive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's totally arrive and drive. It's like absolute. Basically what we do is we put the tyres, the brakes, fuel, even the test day that normally in a championship you'd have to pay 300 odd quid the day before to test. We include everything in our budget, so that all the driver needs is to get his ARDS test, get a race kit, and he can turn up, drive the car, not have any worries of how the car gets here or worrying about getting a mechanic, anything like that. It's every single aspect is included in the price.
And when the racing's that affordable, it makes it really appealing. When the racing is as close as it is out there, that makes it even more appealing to the real racers, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've raced various championships over the years, and one of the main aspects I wanted it was as close as possible. And to make it as close as possible, because we own all 21 cars, they've all got exactly the same equipment on, same maps, same weight, same everything. So we can control that they all are the same. And then when we get out there, we see we've got, novices at the back all having a little battle together, and at the front you've got hardened drivers that's having a good old battle, and right across the field there's racing going on, and that's what we like to see.
Well, and with Andy Godfrey now championship leader arriving here at Donington Park, the weekend that you could and should arguably wrap it up.
I am hoping so, and qualified, it's gone my way. I've outscored Gary Mitchell, who's close behind me, so there's sort of job one done for me at the moment.
What conditions like out there? Because we had a lot of rain yesterday, and I don't think it's dried out yet, has it?
I mean, yesterday in testing was horrendous, so it's didn't really learn too much about the car whatsoever. I think we was all trying different things, and no one really found a proper setup. But this morning, sort of mixed conditions. There's dry patches. I think there was one session out just before us, so there's a little bit of a dry patch in areas for heavier braking. But obviously, we had a safety car. I had a bit of a problem with the car, so I lost 2 laps. Went out, pushed for 1 lap, and I think I got 3rd or 4th, so I'm happy with that.
Well, with Rob Sims now, one of the directors of the Focus Cup. Rob, just tell us a bit more, first of all, about your involvement with the championship.
Well, I've been more technical behind the setup and actually getting the cars to work as they should do. I'm purely, basically, I'm the nuts and bolts behind the bits and pieces. So, yeah, we come up with this conclusion that this was going to be a very good idea, and funnily enough, it's happened.
This whole arrive and drive package really seems to appeal to not just the amateur drivers, but also, slightly more experienced drivers that just want to have a bit of fun of a weekend.
Well, with the championships that I've been involved with all around the world, literally, the seriousness overtakes the fun. And I'm one of these great believers that you start from the ground up, and this is a sport that people do because there's a passion. The novices are being pulled along by the guys which are seasoned drivers. There's a lot of seasoned drivers which come to us pure and simply because they're busy. And there's nobody else which can say, okay, you pay one lot of money, we will literally take care of everything else. If you have your own car, you have to dish out money in about 7 different directions before you even arrive. So we take all that stress out of it.
Well, we've spoken to a few drivers today who have raced for a number of years, but with one now who is only in their second season of racing, Simon Watts. You made your racing debut in the Focus Cup last year. What was it that attracted you to this championship?
Well, motor racing is something I've wanted to do all my life, but never had the time to do. So I looked around at various championships and saw the Focus Cup, which was a new championship for everyone, and I thought that's ideal for me. So started then.
Wherever you are in the grid, there seems to be someone to play with.
There is indeed, yeah. It's always busy, lots and lots of action. Better to be close to the front than at the back, but there's still plenty of action.
Well, one of the great things about the Focus Cup is that we have a lot of family involvement, lots of brothers and fathers and sons getting involved. The Mitchell brothers, no exception. We've got Gary and Ian. Now, Gary, you've raced in the series for the whole year, done pretty well as well, P2 in the points.
Yeah, it's been hard work from the start, but it's I've had some consistent results, really good results at Brands Hatch in the last round, so I'd say all to play for. There's a big gap, but second, third and fourth we're quite close, so these races are going to be quite fun, I think.
And I'm sure, Ian, you're going to have a lot of fun as well, but you're approaching this, I'd imagine, from a slightly different perspective, your first race with the championship.
Yeah, first race, and I'm approaching a bit further back than Gary as well, so he's second, he's been consistent all season. Really, he's only there though because I haven't been here for the rest of the season. Is that fair?
Yeah. What was it specifically about this championship though that you thought, yeah, that's the place for me to go racing?
It's probably because everything's even. You can turn up, and whether or not you've got the skill. I've watched Gary for the last 10-15 years and thought, I can do that. I can probably go quicker than him. We've had a couple of close times in previous races, but this is it's a test of that, if you like. I'm in exactly the same car, same setup, and all things being even, I should be able to potentially prove myself against somebody I think is fairly quick.
As if you didn't have enough on your plate already, trying to finish second in the championship, trying to get another couple of race wins, and now he's after you as well.
I've been told I'm not allowed to pick on him anymore.
Right.
My mum said.
Yeah, so when the mum gets involved, it's serious. Well, best of luck, guys. Thanks for having a chat, and I hope you both enjoy yourselves.
Thank you very much.
Well, Paul Donkin, welcome to the Focus Cup and welcome to pole position. A great qualifying effort this morning.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Very, very difficult conditions out there, however. Took a while to get any form of heat into the car, but last 2 laps the time was there. It's just getting quicker and quicker, and ultimately did it on the last lap, so really happy with that, to be honest.
Competitive little championship this, isn't it? We were just saying that you like to dip in and out and try lots of different championships. How do you rank this one?
Up there with the best of them, quite honestly, yeah. Especially this weekend, we've got 21 cars out. Hugely impressive effort, from all the organisers. So I think it'll be a good kind of last final event for the season.
Well, the cars make their way out onto the circuit for our first race today in very damp and greasy conditions. Paul Donkin on pole position for this one. The turbo change has not been completed in time, but we still have 20 cars set to do battle around the Donington Park National Circuit. Richard, over to you.
Andy, thanks ever so much. Looking forward to this, the final races of the year. And pole position, as you heard, going to Paul Donkin. Coming into line there is Graham Waterhouse. Very heavily branded cars in this championship. They look superb, very well presented, and a super grid. Paul Donkin and David Rowe on the front row. Scott Parkin and Andy Godfrey row 2 from PJ Gardner and Russell Cager. Simon Walton and Gary Mitchell next from Spencer Fortag and Luke Waugh. Nick Abbott with Chris Wallace, then Russ Ollivant and Ian Mitchell. Following Ian, it's Simon Watts and Stuart Drill. Ryan Parkin, Simon Waugh, Richard Hay, Jeremy Brown and Graham Waterhouse completing the grid. The lights are on. Long wait, away we go. Paul Donkin gets away well. I think it's fair to say that the front row maybe got away slightly better than row 2, but it's a good clean start by everybody heading down the Wheatcross Straight into Redgate for the first time. And that is David Rowe in blue. Looking at the outside line, there may be a little bit more grip out there because conditions are wet, but they're side by side in car with Gary Mitchell, still in with a shout at the championship. We'll talk about championship points as the race unfolds. Luke Waugh in front of him. Luke picked up a track limits penalty, but as they go down through Hollywood and into the Crane of Curves for the first time, it's pole position man Paul Donkin who leads. Luke Waugh going past Spencer Fortag. Luke in the predominantly black car with the fluorescent trim, the lined trim. 44 car is Gary Mitchell. Gary second in the championship. On board with him, looking at Spencer Fortag, the Kent racer. Good to see Spencer back. He was in our coverage from Alton Park, you might remember, the round that took place in July as we were emerging from lockdown. Well, there are words that I never thought I'd be saying in commentary. Spencer just not leaving the door open there. It was space for Gary Mitchell to have a look on the inside line, but can't quite go through. And he in turn is coming under pressure from Chris Wallace, the Sussex racer. So Chris Wallace having a look. Chris has been ever present all season, but this is the view from the leader, Paul Donkin, coming down. A little bit of a wobble on there from Paul Donkin coming into the chicane. Paul is familiar with these cars, raced in the championship last year, as did David Rowe, both of them having their 2020 debuts. Across the line they go. There's a little bit of momentum here again from David Rowe. Is he going to try the outside line? Let's see whether he can do it. He is heading through. He's got the wide line. He's got his nose in front at the moment. Third place is Scott Parkin, and Paul Donkin is past. That was a great move by David Rowe. I think Paul did lose a little bit of momentum coming out of the chicane, and David Rowe knew what he could do on the line because he explored that first time out. A little bit of a wobble from the new second place man Scott Parkin, and that's the championship leader Andy Godfrey, and he does a super job, a drifting job on the grass of, when I say super job, keeping it out of the wall, and now is going to rejoin the race, but some way down the order. Godfrey back, there's contact! Simon Walton involved, that 2 cars involved in it. That's a big shame, and the second place car battling for the lead goes around as well. Scott Parkin, the 30-year-old from Barnsley, the Powerflex car, has a spin. He's on the grass. Hopefully we'll get going. Luke Waugh going past. So too is Spencer Fortag. So a little bit of a sort out here on lap 2 of the race. So through goes Luke Waugh. Great to see Luke. Luke joined the championship at the 3rd event, which was at Brands Hatch. There is Russ Ollivant. Now we've got some cars. There is Andy Godfrey's car. That's damaged, as you can see on the front. So the safety car is coming out, and that really gives... You normally expect a safety car on lap 1. Scott Parkin has got the Powerflex car up and running again, but it's going to be a DNF for Scott, unless he can make it. And Richard Hayes in the gravel as well, the Momo car. That's game over for Richard, and that's probably why we got the safety car. I'm just wondering whether Scott Parkin will continue. So he was out at Silverstone round 2 on the 15th of August and took a win there. Must have fancied his chances of challenging the 2 guys who are coming back to the championship, who were out front. So it is David Rowe, a super move around the outside, really made the most of it. See a little bit of dirt on the track, which maybe the marshals will sort out. Richard Hayes' car is off there, and it was lap 2 coming down through the Crane of Curves that caused the problems. So a number of retirees from the 9th race of the season. It's testament to the organising clubs and the organisers of this championship that they've managed to get the season through and get any races going at all. 4th in the championship, Simon Waugh in the 22 car goes through. Had a brace of podia already so far this year. Check out our coverage from Alton Park, which was the first event of the season. Double header, 2 races. We had 2 lots of 2 races at Brands Hatch, which was the event 3. This is the 4th event of the season. So really making a super job the organisers of getting some racing underway. Stuart Druill goes through. There is Gary Mitchell still in with a shout as well. Lights out on the safety car, which is away in the distance, you can see, and the field being very well paced by David Rowe. David still being chased by Paul Donkin, and Paul is equal to that start. It's a good restart from David Rowe, but equally good as well from the second paceman. So battle will resume. David Rowe, 6th in the championship last year. Here they come. Paul Donkin is giving chase. Rowe going right out to the edge of the track on the run into that first turn. Ryan Parkin busy challenging Luke Waugh. This is the view from the second placeman, the view of the race leader. So Paul Donkin, a very experienced racer, has raced in all sorts of things. I think he started off racing his Ariel Atom. He's competed in Clio Cup. It's been my pleasure to commentate on him in that. He's raced in Porsches as well, Carrera Cup Great Britain, amongst other Porsche competition. Stuart Druill coming under pressure from Gary Mitchell. Mitchell, the man challenging points-wise, particularly now with Andy Godfrey being a victim of that second lap incident. Now Godfrey, so much to talk about here. Godfrey with a good lead in the championship. It was 69 points coming here to Donington Park, and with qualifying, he was talking with Andy in the interviews that he managed to outscore Gary Mitchell in qualifying. He did so by 4 points, which takes him into a 73-point lead. Only 70 points available, 30 points for the win, 5 for fastest lap over the 2 races, as we watch Graham Waterhouse going through, the 61-year-old from Stockport. So mathematically, one would say that Andy Godfrey is there, but penalty points could come into play as well. So if there are issues on track, Clark, of course, rightly will get involved. There could be penalty points in the championship. So it's not over until the checker flag comes out and the results are confirmed. But it is a big gap that Andy Godfrey has, and he'll be grateful for that at the moment with those problems. But we're riding with Gary Mitchell again. PJ Gardner, incidentally, 3rd in the championship, hoping to close up. And PJ is up at the sharp end in this one. And Gardner having a look at the inside line here of Stuart Druill. Found the gap, giving each other room, as indeed the battling leaders did on laps 1 and 2. And you can see here, this is close stuff, but good racing, and Stuart Druill holds on to it. 79 car denying points for Gary Mitchell, and now coming into play is Ryan Parkin. Ryan in the blue, white and grey Kartek machine. Gary's got his mirrors full at the moment. Here is Scott Parkin trying to make his way through the order. Has caught Jerry Brown, Nottingham-based driver, and has a look outside line as they head up towards Coppice now. Parkin on the inside line. Jerry Brown, very much like Luke Waugh in qualifying, had grabs the curb there, had a problem with track limits and lost a couple of places on his qualifying as they go across the line again. Great gaggle of cars all involved here, and Stuart Druill is still there. Gary Mitchell about to try and pass Russ Ollivant. Meanwhile, on the inset you can see the 3 leaders are all pretty much together. David Rowe leading, Paul Donkin 2nd, PJ Gardner in 3rd place. It is a job to know where to look. Exactly as was said in the interviews. Now Mitchell fires his way down the inside line. It's going to be 2 passes for the price of 1. Super stuff from Gary Mitchell goes through. One feels that he will probably be challenged again. Here are the leaders still involved in a super battle, and Paul Donkin has really got to move on these last few laps. So Paul getting quicker lap by lap, but is it going to be too late to, I was going to say, is it going to be too late to challenge? He's right in the real tracks of the 77 car. PJ Gardner 3rd in the championship. All he can do at the moment is look in his mirrors and perhaps wonder where Gary Mitchell is, trying to close the gap for 2nd place in the championship. Mitchell, of course, will be doing the sums to work out how close he can get to Andy Godfrey. But this has been super stuff from these three. Paul Donkin has got to be a little bit mindful as well about PJ Gardner right behind him. He's not too worried at the moment. Has a little look to the inside line. Rowe covers the line around about midway down what was Exhibition Straight. Into the chicane again. So Rowe soaking up the pressure at the moment. Paul Donkin in second. They cross the line. Here's the view as they come onto this final lap of the 9th race of the 2020 season into Redgate. A little bit of a gap now developing between Rowe and Donkin, despite the fact that they are battling reasonably hard. Ryan Parkin trying to get back on terms with Stuart Drewell. Look at that, 3 wide. Gary Mitchell, we said he was going to be involved in some more action as well. Mitchell on the inside line will have the line into Redgate. A little bit of contact between Drewell, who goes off, and Ryan Parkin. Just the lightest of touches. There is Simon Waugh, who is running in 14th or 15th position at the moment. Simon, a double podium finisher, as this is the battle for the lead, and it is still David Rowe out front. Paul Donkin raced in the competition last year as well. Graham Waterhouse now in 16th position in the 61 car. He's the one following Simon Waugh. Back with the leaders now, and Donkin has a look as they go into Coppice. Donkin's having a good look. Now it's the exit of Coppice. Not quite close enough, so it could be about momentum as they come down the straight for the last time. Let's see whether Paul can close up, maybe make a move under braking. It looks though that the 77 car of David Rowe has broken clear and has got enough in hand to come into the chicane. No mistakes from David Rowe in the 77 machine. The Corbeau car still chasing, closes up as they come out of the chicane. It's the run down to the checkered flag, and it is going to be David Rowe who takes the win. Second position goes to Paul Donkin. PJ Gardner is third. Luke Waugh has come through and is up into fourth position from Spencer Fortag. Chris Wallace, who were on board briefly with Gary Mitchell, who takes 8th place. Ryan Parkin is the biggest climber, 9 places through the field for the 13 car, challenging Russ Ollivant, but Ryan contents himself with 8th place. Great drive from 17th on the grid. Russ Ollivant and Scott Parkin are next. Here comes Nick Abbott, who will follow Jerry Brown across the line. Nick finishing in 14th place. Well, it was a cracking race to open our weekend here. The ABS car of PJ Gardner, who of course is in line for the Rookie Championship as well, may well have done enough to provisionally secure the Rookie Championship as well. Remember, we've still got another race to come, but the cars make a super sight, very competitive, very evenly matched, with a mixture of new drivers coming in, as you heard, some vastly experienced drivers up at the sharp end, and it is David Rowe in his first race in the Formula of this season. He'll be tempted, I think, to maybe come back and do a full season next year for sure. David Rowe, the winner of the 9th race of the season from Paul Donkin, who got the fastest lap. PJ Gardner second from Luke Waugh. Spencer Fortag in 5th. Chris Wallace and Gary Mitchell. Ryan Parkin next from Russ Ollivant, just getting better of Russ at the end. Scott Parkin was 10th. Simon Watts, Ian Mitchell, Jerry Brown 13th from Nick Abbott. Finishes completed by Simon Waugh in 15th and Graham Waterhouse.
Well, David Rowe, congratulations. Victory in race number 1 here at Donington Park, but as we kind of suspected might be the case, that wasn't easy.
No, it was. I was under some serious pressure from Paul Donkin. He picked up the pace, particularly towards the end of the race, and I was really feeling it, so I was really thankful to see the checkered flag come out.
Yeah, he was piling on the pressure. You got him at the start though, that was really important, wasn't it? Getting that trap position, your start went pretty much as well as it could have done.
Yeah, he made a small mistake on the brakes at the chicane. I managed to kind of go round the outside of him at Redgate, and that was really the making for me. But he was driving fantastic. He did a great job.
Well, Paul, congratulations. Podium finish in race number 1. Not quite the win that we were hoping for, but a good battle there with David.
Yeah, it was good, Andy. I mean, I really wish I could have won it, but P2 really happy with it, and 2/10 at the line. I couldn't really hope for too much more. And you know, to race with Dave, it's always good. It's always fair and clean. So yeah.
And then the trouble is the cars are all identical. There's no way you can gain an advantage, really. It was just very hard to find a way back through.
Exactly that, yeah. I mean, it was very tough to even keep up with them at one point, but the car came towards me at the end. We got a lot of heat in the tyres, especially at the rear. So I was catching him at the end, but you know, you can always say one more lap, but to be fair, it was Dave's race. He drove better.
PJ, well done. 3rd place from 5th on the grid. You had a bit of work to do in the early stages there.
Yeah, and the grid's massive. It's the biggest grid we've had all year, 21 cars, and this in these conditions as well. It's you've got to be on your toes, you know. There was a lot of dramas early on, but I managed just to get round everyone, and nearly collected someone at Red Gate, but managed just to swerve round everyone and hang on. So yeah, was lucky.
See, to me that sounds like a very stressful 15 minutes, but I can tell under that mask you're grinning from ear to ear. It's good fun, isn't it?
Really good fun. I mean, the champion standings are tight now for 2nd place between me and Gary Mitchell, so I've been conscious of just finishing and collecting the points, but then when you're out there and you are having fun, you just want to go fast. So the two guys in front of me that finished 1st and 2nd have jumped in for this round. I think come from GT4, so to be following them round and staying on their pace was good, and we were pulling away from the packs and put some good times in. So yeah, I'm happy with that, and just hope for a good finishing race too.
Well, Andy, that wasn't in the script, was it?
It's pretty disappointing actually, and really it was all my own fault. I was watching, the race had actually just started to settle down. There's a lack of concentration on my part. I was watching the front 3, they were all having a really good battle. They all just sort of touched the brakes through Craner. I was already kind of loaded, just touched the brakes, went straight off into the grass. Thought I'd got away with it all the way across the grass, and unfortunately come back into traffic at Swamps, and that's where I got tagged, and that was the end of my race. But feel okay, the boys are doing a great job. They're going to try and get me out for race 2. And we'll see how we go from there. But
well, I'm with David Sharp now, who's the chief mechanic for the Focus Cup, and one of the things a lot of people have been talking to me about today is how evenly matched the cars are and how closely the mechanical side of things is regulated, and that, I guess, is where you come in.
Yeah, we do a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. I've got a good team of mechanics who work with me. Everybody works off the same hymn sheet. We all know what we're doing. All the cars come in, everything's regulated, and we do all right. So it's hard work, but we get through it. There's a lot of cars to look after, but with a good team of lads and girls, to be fair, we get on all right with it.
What do the cars like to work on then, mechanically speaking? Are they quite easy to, if something goes wrong, is it a simple fix usually?
To be fair, they're all good. We've been on them now for 2 seasons, so we know our way around them. It's pretty easy to, if there's a problem, we know how to get around it quite quickly. All the time, the cars are in development. You know, every formula around the world is always developing, and we're no different. Just because we've got a Focus, it's always developing. I just have to make sure everybody's sorted and we're delegating the right jobs to the right people, and we get them back on track if they've got a problem. But we're doing all right. From where we were last year to this year, we're leaps and bounds ahead now, and we're doing okay. We've got a good formula under us, and it's just progressing from there.
Well, I'm with one of our series newcomers here this weekend, Richard Hayden. Richard, what was it in particular then that made you want to come and race the Focus this weekend? Did you see it as a good way of learning your craft?
Yes, colleague Russ Cager was in the championship last year, and he won quite a few rookie of the year, and did quite well in the championship. And I'd always thought I was kind of level with him in terms of experience, but it turns out I'm not quite there yet. So maybe in a couple more seasons I'll be off a level with him. So yeah, they look fun, and I'd had a test day up at Croft started last year and had a little go, and I thought actually it's quite tasty, it's quite nice. So the opportunity, as I said, came up so we could have a go, and I thought I'd give it a go.
Well, we'd like to have you back. I mean, the championship seems to be really going places, doesn't it? So then now is a good time to jump on board. Indeed,
yeah, it's grown from strength to strength. When we first started out, I think there was about 12, 15 cars, and to see the amount of cars here now, it's a complete transformation. So Simon and crew have done really well, and they look after the cars as well. So it's really worthwhile doing. I definitely recommend people come and have a go.
Well, after a thoroughly entertaining first race of the day, the Focus Cup cars are ready to go again for race number 2. The track conditions are maybe a little better than they were earlier, but still very tricky indeed. And now we have the added thrill of a partially reversed grid. It's Chris Wallace who's been drawn on pole position, so let's have a chat with him, shall we? See how he's feeling. Chris, you've been drawn on pole for this second race. How are the nerves?
Not too bad, not too bad. Look, you know, we're just here to last race of the year, just trying to finish and finish on a high. So yeah, it's good.
And you were kind of in the middle of a lot of the action in race number 1, and that action is now going to be for the lead rather than for 5th or 6th.
That's right. Yeah. So look, we just do the best we can. It's going to be a fun battle. I've had a word with Spencer over the side there. We've kind of, you know, we're going to keep out of each other's way, hopefully, and, you know, yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be a good race. It'd be nice to just have a good race.
And for our final race of the 2020 Focus Cup, a reversed grid means we've got some new faces at the sharp end, and this should be another brilliant race. Richard, over to you.
Thanks again, Andy. Let's have a look at the cars coming into line. There is Simon Watts. Simon has not had a DNF so far this year. I shouldn't say that because very often it means the curse of the commentator. Let's hope that he can complete his season with a 100% finishing record. Here's the grid pole position. The man who finished in 6th place in race number 1, Chris Wallace from Spencer Fortag. The race winner David Rowe back on 6th position, the 3rd row of the grid, with Paul Donkin next to him. So those two will resume their battle. We are missing a couple of cars, sadly, but we still have a very impressive entry. The biggest ever meeting entry for this championship in only its 2nd season. It's only going to get stronger and stronger. Green flag at the back of the field, so it is Wallace and Fortag. Fortag in the yellow and black car. Right of shot as we look at them. Chris Wallace, the Sussex man, there as well. Away we go. Luke Waugh gets away well, but so too does PJ Gardner, who is going to slot between the two of them, climbing up into 2nd position, and I think has got his nose in front. Gardner in the white, blue and red striped car leads as they go into Redgate, but overcooks it, runs into Chris Wallace. Gardner's back on track, and coming through all of that is Paul Donkin, and out of the, well, not out of the race, out of contention was David Rowe at the back of that, but it's Paul Donkin, the early leader. Scott Park in 2nd. PJ Gardner has come through into 3rd place. Then it's Gary Mitchell. Spencer Fortag, one of the casualties. We've got Ryan Parkin running well. Then Ian Mitchell in the 83 car up ahead of Russ Ollivant. Ollivant the chaser there. And Paul Donkin, you'd be brave to bet against him now. Solitary meeting for him last year, remember. Getting into gear quickly is David Rowe with work to do. It's going to be interesting to see how far up the field David can get from there. A little bit of first corner bunching. I think PJ Gardner, we'd have to probably watch a replay of that to see exactly what happened, but I think PJ just lost out a little bit, tagged Chris Wallace. All of those cars have got going again, which is the best news that we could hope for as the cars come down exhibition straight. And it's Paul Donkin, the race leader, fastest lap in race number 1 for Paul. Pole position man, of course, as well. So he would dearly love to come away with a win. Paul, incidentally, as well as being a great racer himself, is he supports other drivers, and it was really good to see him supporting Ant Walt-Niels in the JCW Mini Challenge. There is David Rowe coming through, closely followed by Spencer Fortag, who started on the front row of the grid. Go back to Paul Donkin. I know Ant Walt-Niels was extremely grateful for the support, and racing today is the Cooper class of the JCW Mini Challenge, one of the entry-level classes of the Minis, and I only mention them because the man who was 3rd in this championship last year, getting stuck in there, was Stuart Druell. Harry Nunn finished 3rd in the championship last year, another race-winning driver from Focus Cup. He's challenging for the Mini Challenge Championship this weekend here at Donington Park. We're very much focused on Focus Cup running though, but graduates coming through and, you know, going into other formulae, and all that started from having a chat about the man leading the race at the moment, Paul Donkin. Spencer Fortag working hard, but so too is Scott Parkin, who is in 2nd place and has closed the gap on Paul Donkin and looks like he might have a little bit of a run here. Paul going over to the defensive side of the road, the right-hand side as they come down, but the 13 car is looking to try and outbrake him and get round the outside line. They're going to be side by side. Are they going to door handle it? No, they don't. They behave themselves superbly, and it's Corbo leading Powerflex at the moment as they come out of the chicane, down the straight, cross the line, tick off a lap. But this is great stuff from Scott Parkin, who's putting Paul Donkin under big pressure. These cars, as we know, extremely evenly matched. It's down to the driver, and Paul Donkin is under pressure here. Great bit of racing between the two of them. Nice wide line from Parkin. He's going to hope to carry some momentum out of Redgate down through Hollywood, maybe close up and be able to mount another challenge. Graham Waterhouse up ahead of Richard Hay. Richard's getting a little bit more track time in this one, coming under pressure from Stuart Drill. But again, you know, exactly as everyone said in the interviews before the meeting, wherever you are on the grid, there are battles to be had, whether an experienced racer or a newcomer like Richard Hay, who's very much enjoying his race there. The Momo car up ahead of Graham Waterhouse, and Stuart Drill trying to get involved with those for this, the battle for the lead. And Paul Donkin is passed. Up into lead position goes Scott Parkin. So Paul Donkin has got to now try and get the Corbo machine powered up and try to stay in touch with the Powerflex car out front. Great shot here. The climb up into the first part of Coppice. Double apex corner. Nearly called it Copex. Thinking about my apex, of course. Here come the battling trio. In fact, now Richard Hay getting clear of these guys. So Graham Waterhouse up ahead of Stuart Drill. Nice leader though, Scott Parkin. Little bit of breathing space at the moment over the second place man Paul Donkin. Gary Mitchell busy challenging PJ Gardner. PJ en route to the rookie championship. There is a team competition as well, which you can take part in the championship. Stuart Drill having a look here at Graham Waterhouse, finds the inside line, climbs his way up the hill to Coppice, makes that position. He will now set about trying to close on Richard Hay. Those guys dicing for 16th, 17th and 18th place. In car once again with Gary Mitchell. Mitchell second in the championship. By my maths is 55 points adrift, I think, at the moment of Andy Godfrey, who is champion-elect. Mitchell will be worried about PJ Gardner. 30 points between those two. That could still change, although at the moment it is advantage Mitchell in the red 44 car for the runner-up slot in the championship. PJ Gardner looks like it's going to be third place, but rookie championship win. Great progress being made by David Rowe. There again is Simon Waugh, fourth in the championship, very consistent season, podium finisher. The Mintex Mitchell there, 44 car, trying to close in on PJ Gardner. Second position in the championship between those two. Mitchell with the upper hand at the moment. Back with the leaders, Paul Donkin is not being lost, and that's why there's a mistake by Scott Parkin. Just runs very wide coming into the chicane, and Scott Parkin has got all the work to do again. Paul Donkin back in front. Paul consistently setting fastest laps and goes across the line, back in the lead. Simon Watts now coming under pressure from David Rowe. And remember, David Rowe was the last of the cars that we saw after the first turn incident, the Redgate incident. And Rowe looking to do what he did best in the first race and go on the outside line here if he needs to. He knows that he's got the confidence to go around Redgate the outside. He takes the wide line, doesn't actually need to because he's clearly in front of Simon Watts, the 59-year-old from Preston. So good stuff by David Rowe. Stuart Drill now up ahead of Richard Hay. Richard acquitting himself well. Richard in turn building a little bit of a lead over Graham Waterhouse in the 61 car at the moment. Across the line they go. You can see Waterhouse a few lengths back. These two coming down into Redgate. It looks like Drill is starting to build a little bit of a gap over the 17th place car of Richard Hay. Further progress for David Rowe. Has got into the top 10. That's a great bit of driving from David Rowe. He's got Simon Watts behind him. I'm just having a look down the circuit now to see if we can spot the next target for him. We look at Luke Waugh, running well, chasing Simon Watts. Luke was up at the sharp end in the start, I think got caught in the schmozzle on the first turn. Luke, another driver like Paul Donkin, who's raced Clio Cup, took a win at Brands Hatch, race 5 of the season in the 3rd event of the year. Closing up on him now is his brother Simon, who's got a little bit more experience of these cars, and Simon having a very good go. That's Nick Abbott in behind as well. So Nick, the man from Ashton and Makerfield, I think first round of the season if memory serves correctly, but Nick Abbott running just outside the top 10 at the moment. Luke and Simon dicing over 10th place with Simon Watts up ahead of them. Stuart Drill goes through again, but Paul Donkin's still the leader. Second position Scott Parkin. Here's the battle for third. PJ Gardner still there from Gary Mitchell. ABS car up ahead of the Mintex machine, who's trying to go past. Well, I think Gary Mitchell knows it's not going to be the championship win, but he's keen to secure second place in the championship with a podium if he can. Simon Waugh still chasing brother Luke at the moment. PJ Gardner, I think, putting a bit of distance between himself and Gary Mitchell. Across the line, those two go again in car with Mitchell. Again, using all the track, staying right out wide as they come down into Redgate, trying to close the gap on PJ Gardner. Let's have a look at the respective lap times. Mitchell, the quicker of the two, 1 minute 30.177, his best. Gardner's best 1:31. Parkin and Donkin both in the 1:29s. Meanwhile, we said, who was it that David Rowe was catching? And it was indeed Russ Oliphant. So he's having a look here, David Rowe. This is for 7th place, again using the outside line. It's just been entertaining for him. He's found the grip again. He knows his car well, he knows the track and the conditions well, and goes through. David Rowe from 18th position at the end of lap 1 has come through. The race 1 winner up into 7th position. It's a long way to go to catch up with Ian Mitchell. I don't think time is going to be on his side to do that. Simon Watts coming under pressure from Luke Waugh. Simon Waugh still in behind. Oliphant trying to keep tabs now on David Rowe. So let's see whether Russ can maybe learn something from the race 1 winner. Luke Waugh still challenging Simon Watts. This is a very interesting battle here coming up towards Coppice. Simon Waugh is next up from Nick Abbott. Battle for third still raging here. And Gary Mitchell is up into 3rd place. So Gary Mitchell into 3rd. He was after that podium slot. Still at the moment too far away from the two leading drivers, and through goes Luke Waugh, but he catches a little bit of gravel. That's going to throw the rear end round. He collects it up well, but Watts goes back through. Simon Watts through now. Simon Waugh is going through as well. That was all about Luke Waugh getting in front of Simon Watts, but he couldn't quite hang on to it. Now you can see that Luke Waugh has got Nick Abbott getting involved and trying to close down on him as well in the 34 car. Clear air at the moment for David Rowe. There's a synergy going on here. 77 car in 7th place. As the battling continues. Paul Donkin still out front, but he's been caught now, hasn't he, by Scott Parkin. This is fascinating stuff. We're on board with the 2nd place driver. Scott Parkin was the leader, doing what he did earlier in the race. A little bit of deja vu for him. He's closing in on Paul Donkin, so Donkin under a little bit of pressure at the moment. And is he going to do a David Rowe? Goes round the outside line, Paul Donkin, as he did with Rowe, giving him room, and he's made it round. Paul Donkin loses the lead. Donkin's still got the fastest lap of the race, but going through into lead position for the second time in this race, it is Scott Parkin who has got the lead. Scott Parkin, the leader in the 13 car, looking for a second win of the season. He won round 3, or race 3 of the championship on the 15th of August at Silverstone. Luke Waugh having another moment on the gravel, and Simon Waugh trying to get on terms with him and nip past as well. Not sure brotherly love is going on. They're having a superb race, those two, and also having a good race is Nick Abbott, who wants to go through on the outside line as well. This is the scrap for third. It's still Gary Mitchell there. Mitchell up ahead of PJ Gardner. PJ goes on the climb up into Coppice. Oh, and a little mistake from Gary Mitchell, runs wide off on the grass and through on the inside. Totally unfazed by that. Sometimes a car going off in front of you can cause a problem, but Gary Mitchell, that little error there, if it was an error, loses third position. Meanwhile, across the line goes Scott Parkin onto the last lap of the 10th race of the season. Paul Donkin is closing up, and he's lighting up the timing screen here and closing in, and the Corvo car putting pressure on Scott Parkin. This is all going to be about, there's a problem there, a little bit of smoke maybe coming out the back of Richard Hay's car. Let's hope that carries on. Richard Hay hopefully still in the mix, but doesn't look too good for him. I think he's going to pull over. Now back with the race leaders. Paul Donkin was closer when we last saw him, so it is Scott Parkin still out front. Paul Donkin in P2. It's been a very consistent and fast day's work for Paul Donkin. Pole position, fastest lap in race 1, provisionally fastest lap in this one, and another second place, but he's hunting him down. He's closing up big time as they go out of McLean's up towards Coppice for the last time, and Scott Parkin is still there. Let's see whether we can get a late run from the 15 car of Paul Donkin, who is closing in. It might be about the run and positioning as they come down into the chicane for the last time along the exhibition straight. Is Parkin going to go over to the right and defend? He does, not excessively. There's a gap here, or there would be if Paul Donkin was closer. Donkin's going to take a more optimum line and maybe have a run to the flag as they come out of the chicane for the last time. The checkered flag is being readied, and it's the Powerflex car of Scott Parkin who is going to take the checkered flag from Paul Donkin. Super race to wrap up the season. Those two clear. PJ Gardner still in third after that little moment for Gary Mitchell. Mitchell will be kicking himself for that, but here comes PJ Gardner. Third place in the championship secured with that and the rookie title. Gary Mitchell wraps up second place in the championship in the red 44. Next is Ryan Parkin from Ian Mitchell. David Rowe in 7th place. By my reckoning, Scott Parkin, the man who did the most overtakes or places gained, 9 places gained from 10th on the grid. We had a quick look there at Spencer Fortag, who will finish in 13th place. And this has been a super battle between these guys. Simon Watts in 9th, up ahead of Luke Waugh, who's now got the better of Simon Waugh once again. Nick Abbott at the back of that group with Spencer Fortag in the number 4 car, but it is going to be 9th place for Simon Watts. Luke Waugh wrapping up the top 10 there in the number 11 car. There's the checker flag. Close finish again between those 4. Spencer Fortag catching them in the later stages. Jerry Brown, who we haven't seen a huge amount of, was 14th. But there is our winner. Scott Parkin wins the 10th race of the 2020 season. Win for Scott Parkin. Paul Donkin, second place and fastest lap. PJ Gardner completes the podium from Gary Mitchell, Ryan Parkin, then Ian Mitchell from David Rowe. Ross Ollivant in 8th from Simon Watts, and Luke Waugh completing the top 10 ahead of his brother Simon. Nick Abbott next from Spencer Fortag and Jerry Brown. Chris Wallace 15th from Stuart Drewell and Graham Waterhouse.
Well, Scott Parkin, race winner in our final race of the season, and what a battle that was with Paul.
Yeah, definitely. A little bit airy at the start with a spinner. I think I managed to capitalise on that pretty well. Got up to third, I think. No, second actually for that. And then just chasing. Yeah, I was quite surprised. It came from nowhere. I thought, a podium would have been nice from where I started, but yeah, just capitalised. I think mainly on that first corner incident, which is unfortunate for the guys involved. But this is racing, I were on the grass in the first race when I were in second, so just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, a great day for the family as well. It's a family sport, motorsport. We're going to bring your brother Ryan in because you have won the Focus Cup Team Family Trophy. Ryan, you had a top 5 finish in that race as well, so pretty good day for both of you.
Yeah, not bad. I don't think I could have done any better though. I just made up for everybody else's misfortune, so I did drive wheels off it as much as I could, but I didn't think it'd dry up as much as it did. It was really good. That last session was like, why you want to race at Donington? You got that crane of curves and stuff. Really enjoyed it. The cars, they worked really good, just nice balance and everything, so yeah. First time I've raced in these, so...
It was a bit of a snakes and ladders race, that, wasn't it, really? You had the lead, then you were down to second, then you got the lead back and built a gap, and it looked good at that point, didn't it?
Yeah, I just didn't clearly have enough pace to keep him behind me, so he put it off at one point. I thought, well, that's P1 kind of in the bag, guaranteed, but I should never get too cocky, really. So that, yeah, he caught me up again and passed me, unfortunately, so P2 it is again, but that's fine.
Said earlier on that you've obviously got a lot of experience in various one-make categories and you really did rate this championship. Have you enjoyed your day racing in the Focus Cup?
I have, yeah. I mean, I did a similar one-off weekend last year in April for the first round here, actually. It's just been as enjoyable, if not better, to be honest. It's a credit to Simon and everybody to get it to this point.
Well, PJ, another third place, just as you had in race 1, but it sounds like that was quite eventful.
Yeah, there was some dramas at the first corner, which I were expecting to some extent, but I was really lucky. I got pushed a little bit wide into the gravel, managed to keep one wheel on the track and stay in the race, and other than been third for half the race. Gary Mitchell getting closer and closer in my rearview mirror. He then got in front of me, then he had a little bit of a moment and I managed to get him back, so it was eventful. It kept me on my toes all the way through, but great finish to the season. Just it's my first season of racing, to come away with so many trophies this year is just amazing for me, so I'll be back next year and hopefully do a little bit better.
Well, runner-up in the 2020 championship, Gary Mitchell, congratulations. A really solid season all round for you.
Yeah, it has been. It's been up and down and mechanical issues and car issues, but yeah, consistency, just pushing, keeping the points rolling in, really. No point putting it off somewhere and having a DNF somewhere, so it's worked well.
So the 2020 Focus Cup champion is Andy Godfrey. That sounds good, doesn't it?
It does. I didn't think I was actually going to get there when I first started this morning, and just took my time with qualifying. Found the lap that I needed just to be fourth. Put another 4 points into Gary. Obviously, not going all my own way in race 1, which put me out of race 2. But luckily, I had the points. I've done the hard work during the year. So I've come away happy. I was a bit dejected earlier, but with the whole team and everyone here have lifted me up, and I'm going to go home with a smile on my face. And again, the way that Simon and Rob sort of run a tight ship, keep the cars in really good order. Yeah, I'd recommend it. It's a good place to be at a weekend.
Superb championship, and our congratulations to Andy Godfrey, who wraps up the title here at Donington Park from Gary Mitchell. PJ Gardner third from Simon Waugh. Simon Watts in 5th place from Chris Wallace and Simon Walton. Simon Tomlinson 8th from Luke Waugh, and our top 10 completed by Richard Avis.
So as the sun sets here at Donington Park, it does so as well on a really successful second season of Focus Cup action. It's been fantastic to see the grid size swell this weekend, and hopefully many of the drivers making their debuts this weekend will be back for a full season campaign next year. Congratulations to Andy Godfrey on wrapping up the championship in dramatic fashion. Not his best weekend's racing, but just enough to get him over the line. If 2020 is anything to go by, I think the Focus Cup is here to stay, and next season should be another fantastic year of racing. You don't want to miss it.